All right, we are live. Here we go. Good morning to everybody. You guys come on in and we'll get this thing started. It's going to take a few minutes before we really get started, and I bring in the man of the hour, Jay Glazer, who's been a long time buddy of mine, going on 2 decades now. So we'll bring him in here shortly, just in a few minutes. We're going to have a great conversation, and we're going to chop it up. But in the meantime, how are you guys? Good morning. I know we're going to have a lot of people tune into this one. A lot of dudes, a lot of girls, a lot of athletes, a lot of players, a lot of MMA fighters. Everybody is tuning into this one. So good morning. Just going to wait here for a couple of minutes. Drinking my celery juice. Are you guys into celery juice? If you're not, I highly recommend it. Freak MMA has joined the conversation. All right. Well, let me just give you guys a little bit of context as we're waiting right now because of the celery juice. So yes, I'm a big advocate of celery juice. The entire family juices. We juice every morning. I have approximately maybe, 24 to 32 ounces of celery juice. Celery is the devil's lettuce. Somebody said, no, weed is the devil's lettuce. And I know from very poor experiences. Listen, I won't get into that right now. All right, so good morning. We're going to bring in here Jay Glazer. Big Rami, welcome to the conversation. The Olympic champion himself. Okay, so guys, here in a couple of minutes, we're going to bring on Jay Glazer. Jay has a highly anticipated book coming out. I'm very proud of Jay. This book has already been doing well in its pre-sales. Been doing great, actually. And, Jay really gets into his gray, and that the gray he talks about, that's his depression, that's his anxiety. It's the kind of shit that we've all gone through. And Jay really opens up, and he's very vulnerable in this book. But it's also a good reflection of how important it is, I think, not only to be vulnerable, but to open up and talk about this kind of shit that generally us as dudes, as men, we don't necessarily easily talk about. So we're going to have Jay on here in a minute. I want to welcome everybody to this chat. Jay, I know you're watching now. Go ahead and send in your request. I want to make sure I don't miss it. Have our amazing family executive director Bianca is standing by. You want to say hello, Bianca? All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. A lot of nice hearts. We're getting a lot of nice hearts.
A lot of nice hearts.
A lot of nice hearts. It's
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Wow, eggplant. Nice. All right. Come on, Jay. You're keeping the people waiting. Come on. There we go.
I did. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can add him ourselves.
There we go. Right now is a moment where everyone's like, I don't know how to do jack shit on IG Live. That is true. So,
there we go.
Jay Glazer.
Yeah, I'm drinking up my celery juice right now, too. You're so full of shit with your celery juice. We know you're drinking this in the morning. You just worked out drinking it.
I Terramana and Zoa into this with my celery juice.
Oh, wait.
Cheers.
Wait, how did that happen to just get over here at the same time? So odd.
Well, I think the same way that this thing got over here, too, as well.
I make a creamsicle with this in the morning also. That's how we do it. Hey, l'chaim, brother. Thank you.
L'chaim, my brother. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming on, man. I'm excited about this one, and I know a lot of people are not only excited, too, but a lot of people are really leaning in and intrigued by you. And, lately, especially lately, as you've been not only promoting your book, you've been such a strong advocate even before your book about mental health. Let's get right into it. We'll veer off and we'll pivot in other directions a little later, but let's really get down to it. talk a little bit about your book, Unbreakable, Jay, and what was the inspiration behind it?
You know, look, you and I have been friends for a long time, right?
Yeah.
We've known each other for a long time. And back then, you said, "Oh, Jay's crazy."
Yeah.
Jay's crazy. Well, what you guys didn't realize, yeah, I was crazy, but I was in a lot of pain the whole time. And man, back then we could say crazy. We couldn't, like, no one talked about the mental health end of it. And look, the reason why I wrote this book, when I finally did start talking about my gray and my life in the gray, I just want people to understand that what I consider the gray is, it is depression, it is anxiety, and I don't know what life is like without those. Like, this is, I don't know if I was born with it, but it's clinical. I was born with it, or childhood trauma, whatever it is, it's the only memories I have. So what my depression, anxiety did, it's put me in a hole an awful lot, but it's also me to do great things. Like, I didn't understand what it was like, and I still have a hard time, what it's like to love myself from the inside out. Like, I don't see that. I don't know, like, I don't see like this likable or lovable person, if you will. So that has forced me to do all these big, great things so I can get love from the outside in. And that, I guess, is buying me time, if you will, to get me to figure it out from the inside out. And today's a scarier world, man. You use social media the right way. Yours is great because we see it raw. But the rest of it, man, we compare ourselves to everybody else's filtered fraction of a second in life, and we all think our lives fucking suck, and they don't. And we see so much hate on Twitter. So I had a voice because, look, no one's questioning my manhood. No one's questioning yours. So we could be more raw and vulnerable. And like, vulnerability, that's a lot stronger than the shit you do over here, brother. So I felt, look, one of the things I do to get myself out of the gray, if you will, is to be of service to people. So I figured, man, wanted me to write a football book, and I didn't want to, because I don't need to be looking over my shoulder my whole life with all the secrets that I know in the NFL. But I'm like, man, right here could help and be of service to the world. And that's why I ended up writing the book.
Well, Jay, when you talk about, seeking love from the outside and trying to, figure out your shit on the inside at the same time, like, at what point did it switch for you? Did you realize that, I can't continue to seek love and approval from outside sources? I have to look inward. When was that? And I'm curious to know, was there something in your life who kind of shook you up and said, hey, you need try to look at it from this perspective, or let's dig in here, or let's tackle these emotional flags and do some work? Like, when did that happen? Because that's a big deal for all of us, by the way, because I always say that the hardest yet most important thing that we can be is ourselves, and being authentic, being real. And also, it's easy for people to say sometimes, well, I just don't give a fuck how people feel about me. Well, 9 times out of 10, that's bullshit, because you can't help feel that. But yet, at the same time, you got to try and balance this ideology about making sure that you're going inward and not necessarily looking for approval from somebody else outside.
You asked me when that changed. It hasn't yet, dude. I am, that's what, this book is about, me getting teammates, right? Who are like me, who are, like I always say, I'm fucked up, but I'm good with my fucked upness, right? And I'm learning. I'm a flawed human being that's still just trying to learn and figure that out. And it's hard. A lot of times, listen, I wake up every fucking day, feeling like the sky is falling, and man, the universe has just come down crashing around me. And it's not the truth. Like, the universe inspires to help us. And I'm so.
It will always meet you halfway.
What's that?
The universe will always meet you halfway.
And more so, I think the universe loves us up. But man, it's such a foreign concept for me. But one thing I won't do is give up. I work with a lot of vets, as you know, with MVP. That's not an option for us. Like, we've got to stick around, because say in the book, like, you never know what lies around next Tuesday. Like, you never know if you stick around when you're going to be able to help somebody else out. So, like, that for me, that's me lately opening up about this and being really raw on Instagram and Twitter about it. It's been incredible, because I've got a lot of people who said, man, I was going to make that decision because of your your vulnerability in your post, I'm not going down that road. And for me, when I hear that, I'm able to see some slivers of blue. Like my life is a constant seeking blue.
Well, let me ask you this. So when you say you're constantly seeking that blue, and I think a lot of people watching this right now are really going to be intrigued and really want to know, for a lot of people who are going through shit on a daily basis, like you do, like I have done, and you and I have talked about this. We're going on our second decade of knowing each other and being brothers, and we've bonded over,
It's been a lot of filth. It's been a filthy 20 years.
It's been, and it continues to be a filthy 20 years. That will for life. That's just filthy. But so when you wake up every morning and you feel like, man, I'm feeling heavy today. Because it's that feeling that we've all gotten, right? Even the sun could be shining, rain, sleet, shine. It doesn't matter. Sometimes we get that feeling. But when you wake up with that, is there a thing for people watching? What's a thing that will help you trigger out of that?
Yeah. So this is a prescriptive book. Like I'm trying to use my own experiences to help everybody, whether it's in business or life or training, but especially to get through the gray. And I kind of got 3 pillars of what I use here. One is having a team. So like, dude, I've leaned on you. I've sent you text messages where I'm fucking melting down, right? And what I can promise everybody out there, look, I'm in the 3 most doodly things in the world, right? Football, fighting, and ballers, which I believe you were on. I've got
ballers, yeah.
Yeah. I think you had a guest hit on that once or twice. But like, man, when I have these teams, it lifts me up. Like I get to walk this walk with people. And this year is when I really started to tell my crew the darkness and the shit I was going through. And that includes Strahan, who's my best friend for 30 years.
Yeah.
I didn't get into with him about this till fucking 2 months ago. Think about that. There is this dude I've walked with 30 years.
People will want to know that. As you guys know out there who are watching and joining us live, Michael Strahan is a great buddy and brother of both me and Jay. Jay's known him a lot longer than I have. I always like to say that Michael Strahan lived my dream of being a giant, an all-pro defensive lineman, giant, Super Bowl winning. Like, that was my dream. I never made it to the NFL. So we always have a big laugh about that. But so you guys have known each other for 30 years, but yet you never shared your mental struggles with him. Why not?
He asked me the same thing. It wasn't until 2 months ago. Like I had such a bad anxiety attack. It kicked my ass. I felt like I got to have a 50-round fight. And he's like, over. I said, no, I'm good. He said, you want to talk about it? I said, not now. I just want to get to sleep. And he goes, why have you never told me? And I was like, I don't make the rules of this, dude. I don't know. Like, but here, had I not felt ashamed 30 years ago and told him, I would have had somebody that I could lean on for 30 years. So, look, Lane Johnson and I did a big sit down for Fox recently about it, right? And man, we opened up to each other about it. All these other people saw it. And now, as I open up, like in the book, it's a conversation when I go through the gray. And the first 3 chapters are me, like, listen, you started with less than $7 in your pocket. I know it's called $7 production, but it wasn't that much. I had 10 fucking years of the most.
700 or something, right? Was it like $9,700 or $9,500?
10 years. 10 years of fucking rejection to get to where I'm trying to get to. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of heartache and hardship, right? In getting there. And man, you think that, okay, when, man, all of a sudden you finally make it 10 years in. It's a lot of me. Hey, God, I'm not asking you to make it for me. I'm just asking you to be my best teammate. When I fall down, brush me off, and let's keep walking this walk together. There's a lot of faith in that. And it's exhausting. People think you or I just, it's The Rock. Man, you fucking busted your ass more than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Just for people out there. When he's on the set of Ballers, okay, I'm sorry out here you hear like this. He's on the set of Ballers. We're all fucking around. Dwayne's over there. He's doing this. He's doing this. He's sending this out. He's filming this. Like, he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. The reason why he's so successful is because he outworks the world, not by a little, but by an enormous amount. And the way I got to where I am is by being absolutely freaking relentless over these years. And I'm talking about that. And when I finally got there, I'm thinking, shit, it's going to be rainbows and unicorns. And the the truth is my wallet is not an antidepressant. Like my life is fucking great, but between my ears is not. And I get into the book and I tell Sean, and it's a conversation I had with Rams head coach Sean McVay. He doesn't really get it.
Tell the people about that conversation with McVay.
He doesn't understand it. And
Great.
It was me and Andrew Whitworth and him. And we're really trying to get into, hey, dude, you know, think of how much better of a coach. Because he's like, wait, I don't get it. So you just wake up and you're just depressed? I'm like, yeah. He goes, why? I said, because I have depression, asshole. He goes, great, thanks. I said, Sean, think how much better of a coach you could be. If you could. And Whitworth is sitting right there. And Andrew goes, Sean, what do you think gets me to put a helmet on for 40 years and go smash my head in Aaron Donald practice every day? And all these people, yeah, I'm fucked up. And he's like, you too? And like, Sean, if you could understand our darkness, think how much better a coach you'll be. And Sean says, well, how many of my players you think have this? And I said, it's not the question to ask yourself. The question is how many of your secretaries and scouts and family members and your players and your front office people, it's everybody. And again, today's day and age is a different world because social media put so much pressure on us. And he's like, wow, so we teach him about the gray. And that's the chapter where we really get people to understand that. So I know it's a long answer there. And that.
But with that, though, because it was, I think, a great pivotal moment, I think, for you, Andrew, and certainly Coach McVay. But then the B-side to that, share with everybody the B-side to that was, I think, was it McVay's wife you were telling me, who, without getting into too much information, but she was understand that, you know, this bigger idea.
She's like, I've been trying to tell you about this. And he's like, wait, you know about the shit? Like, Sean, we've all, and he's like, oh my God. And actually that week, Sean got it so much, he got somebody else he's close with to go see a therapist, which is bam, right? And man, Sean Payton I'll put it here, has a great quote in it. And again, it's got me close to these guys I've known since the early 90s, the Mike Tomlins and the Sean Paytons. And Sean Payton had a great book saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm learning from these guys, right? And so that's one of the things is having this team, right? Number two, and these are my 3 ways to the grade. Number 2 is being of service. And that's what you and I are doing right now. And you do this incredibly. Every time you do something for a fan that is struggling, you use what God has blessed you with to be of service. And that gets me to see blue. And that's in the book. I kind of show everybody how to be of service. Not even when I was broke, those $9,700 a year, I figured out ways to be of service because that got me to see the blue. And man, you know, MVP is being of service to me. I don't know. I've always had charities because, you know, it's so funny, man.
Oh, but Jay, tell
you always feel like such a bad person. So I always got to do bigger things to make myself not feel so shitty. If that makes sense. Sorry to interrupt you, dude.
No. I because you mentioned MVP, but I think it's important for people to know, for those who don't, just how incredible this is, how incredible MVP is. Merging vets and players. And I have seen it firsthand. I know its power, and I know you know, look, I have very proud military men and women in my family, and very proud athletes who have had amazing amateur careers and pro careers too as well. So what you're doing with MVP is really tremendous. Tell people about it.
I'm putting together, again, not scary. So 6 years ago, I was like, man, let's put the 2 together. Like combat vets look up to athletes, athletes look up to combat vets. But when the uniform comes off, it's a scary world. Suddenly they lose their team, they lose their locker room. And I wanted to reproduce the locker room for them and help them, not just help them through the transition, but shine transition because they deserve it. And like our combat vets have this thing of, they don't talk about it, right?
Yeah.
They're trained not to have individuality, not to talk about it. And I'm like, no. And they come back home here, they're like, oh, I'm different. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, you're different. And different is good. Different leads to success. Try and tell them all the time, don't be a crowd. Fuck that. Be the crowd. Right? You be the crowd. And you deserve it. But who reminds them of their greatness? Like you have people, we have a guy, 7 people out of a bridge that got blown up in Iraq and saved them. And it took them 3 years to tell us. Where everybody else lies on their resume, right, and pumps it up, our vets don't talk about their stuff enough. So I want to remind them. I said, well, you know what? Let's put them with pro athletes. The athletes, the same thing. Their uniform comes off, and they look at it like, oh, I used to play in the NFL. I used to be a pro. I used to be in the Olympics. I'm like, no, that will never leave. And, you know, you play in the NFL, you be an Olympian, you be whatever it is, that's not the uniform. That's what's behind your rib cage that got you to beat out millions and millions and millions to get on that level. And that suddenly doesn't just leave when the uniform comes off. So I put them together, and, man, we just had our 6th-year anniversary. We're in 7 cities. We have and a lot of people who are finding their greatness. And there's a lot of it in the book where I learned from them. You put a bunch of vets and players together, they are the most philosophically smartest group you'll ever hear, way better than a boardroom at a Fortune 500 company, because I've been in both. And the stuff they come up with when they feel safe and comfortable, I'm just their vehicle to get their message out. It's been incredible, man.
Well, what I love about MVP is what I love about your own journey and your openness and your own ideologies of being an advocate. And you and I have talked about this, about talking about our shit and getting it out. You know, I am just, as dudes, as you know, we've talked about this, as dudes, you know, we have a tendency to keep all our shit in and not talk about it, especially the stuff where it may be interpreted as a weakness. But as you know, and as many out there know, and if you don't know this, you should feel this and embrace it, is when you talk about your shit, and when you talk about if you're going through anxiety or depression or mental health challenges, man, that is not a weakness. That is a superpower.
Yeah.
And something that we all have to. And so again, I love what you've been doing with MVP, and I'm really so proud of the boys and the girls who have participated, who continue to participate and feel MVP's power. But so, Jay, in the book, you talk about the 5 pillars of an unbreakable mindset.
Yeah.
Which I love. And I'm going to kick it off with find out who the best is and do more. That's pillar number 1. But let's go into pillars 1 through 5 for everybody.
So there's two kind of, the book is 2 things, right? There's, man, how you deal with the gray, which is thing too, right? Like, man, we got to laugh our asses off along the way. The gray hates laughter. And by the way, I've just started to let people know this, but I have had an anxiety or panic attack before every show I've done to 2005 going into it. So if you watch me on Fox, and I don't want to bring them down. Like, this is their too. I don't want to bring them down. So I got to deal with it myself. So, man, I'll breathe, I'll try and meditate, but I'll always laugh. So the gray hates laughter. That's part of the book is how you deal with it. And this is the first time I'm revealing this, dude. Every single show, until I wrote it, and Lane Johnson, who said, hey, if you journal, it's helped me a lot. And I realized, oh my God, once I wrote this down, I stopped having anxiety. Rare. So from 2005 till this year, every single show, commercial callers, Fox, MMA, didn't matter. I'm wrestling with my abuser for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm not afraid to be on TV. I fucking love it. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable on TV. I'm great in chaos. I don't know why it happened.
Well, let me ask you this. When it comes to anxiety and, you know, and panic attacks and things like that, we've all been there. You and I have talked about ours in the past and recently too as well. But, you know, for something like that, if because the gray does hate laughter. And if you don't have your boys around you or your girls or whoever it is that you can bounce a joke off of and fucking start to laugh so you can break this little cycle that you're going through right now, what do you do then for people who are watching now?
I have some breathing that I do. I'll do deep breathing. I'll convince myself, but I wrestle. I'm like, I'm not going to let it win. Like, that's the whole thing too, man. I will not let the gray win. That is it. I made the decision. And I will just keep going. But sometimes as I'm on TV, I'm talking to the roommates in my head, trying to get them to play nice with each other. And I'm just hoping that I get this shit right as I'm coming. But that's why you'll see me on TV with a big smile, laughing this. But the real, oh man, I get choked up talking about it. The real truth is, man, yeah, I'm wrestling with this abuser, trying not to let anybody else see it because I don't want to put that shit on them. And I kind of get choked up because I'm like, man, sometimes I just want to give this dude a hug. Like, man, you don't deserve this. You're okay, you know? But ever since I wrote it, I haven't had one, which is just incredible. I still got to get back to your 5 pillars here.
No, all right, we'll get back there, but I think that's a big thing for people to know, man. You know, every time they see you on TV, that is what you are going through and wrestling with, you know, in your head, because, you know, the truth is, man, there is so much suffering in silence with people around the world where they just feel so fucking uncomfortable about talking about any kind of panic attack, disorder, anxiety, depression, the gray. So you sharing what you just shared, which is it's a pretty big deal for you to open up that way, man. I think it's really, really going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I want people to know they're not alone. Yeah, it happens to me up there. And again, for me, I'm great in chaos, dude. Great in chaos. I'm not good in, so a lot of times I'll create chaos because that's unfortunate because my friends have to take the brunt of that or people of society. But man, that's the thing that confuses me. So I'm great in chaos and I love being on camera, but then it happens. So my point to everybody else out there is this thing plays by its own set of rules. It sits down at your table whenever it damn well pleases, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. Nothing's wrong with you because that happens. We just got to always fight back.
That's it. Well, listen, speaking of fighting back, we have, let me go through these pillars for everybody. So find out who the best is and do more than them, which I think is great. These are your 5 pillars of an unbreakable mindset in here.
Business and for training, for all our players, we've trained over 1,000 NFL players in this MMA system that we started. But go ahead, shoot it, big boy.
All right. Find out who the best is and do more than them. Fuck yeah. Be relentless. Fuck yes. Push your breaking point. Push your breaking point. Push your breaking point. I love this one. I love all of these, but I love this one in particular because I always feel like, and you and I have talked about this every time we train together, and every time we're trying to overcome any other kind of challenges, is you push yourself past that breaking point of being so fucking uncomfortable, of feeling like you can't go on, you can't push yourself more, but you do. But on the other end and the other side of that breaking point, like that's where the success is, right?
And then you look back. So I'll tackle these 3 real quick. We push our breaking point. So you look back and you say to yourself, damn, I can't believe 2 weeks ago that you'd be hard. I can't believe a month ago I was down here. So now you push yourself up here and you see how much more you're capable of. That's where we push our breaking points. And especially when we're training our fighters or football players, I want them to understand it. Like our football players, man, we'll put them through 3 or 5 minute rounds with a 1 minute break. And I'm like, dude, if you could do 5 minute rounds here with a 1 minute break, you damn sure could do a 7-second round with a 1 minute break on the football field. So just remember that, right? And the relentlessness. Like, man, we are, like, if I am, and this is where it's opposite of the world, where I want us to show and say anything, athletically, or business-wise, you will fucking never know when I'm hurt. You will never know when I'm tired. And it's like, you'll see, like, me and Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell in our gym, and we're training these guys, and we are just relentless, nonstop. Until somebody goes, holy fuck, get them off of me. Like, I didn't sign up for shit, right? And I also, like, our fighters can't take a stool in between rounds. I want them walking back and forth, and having somebody go, why the hell is Randy Couture not sitting down? What is going on over here? and we give a lot of, examples in the book of this also. And then find out who the best is and do more than them. If you all want your dreams to come true, follow what Dwayne does and say, I'm going to do more than that. I've told a million football players, same thing. Find out who the best is and do more than them. Tom Brady, find out what Tom does and do more than him. And I can't tell you how many guys say to me, I can't do that. That's too much. Well, if you want your dreams come true, that's it. Like the secret to success, it's not really a secret. It's outwork the world.
That's right. That's right. It's outwork the fucking world. Be the hardest workers in the room. Approach it like your back is up against the wall. I call it the backs up against the wall philosophy. And when you operate with your back up against the wall, you got one fucking place to go, and that is forward, and that's ahead. You have another one here, neutral face. You and I have talked about this in the past. Don't ever show you're hurt. Make sure you have that neutral face on. But not only in the gym. Go ahead.
I'll tell our football players, our fighters, again, if you're hurt or tired, don't ever show it. And you can't control yourself here. It's like, man, like, when you're a little kid and you're playing tag with your friend, your brother, son, and all of a sudden you're exhausted, you're laying down, and they come over and they twang you, and all of a sudden you jump up and run after them. You forget you're tired, right? So if you could sit there and not show it, and you start to see somebody else start to break athletically, man, it's like a branch. Now you can hear it, you can feel it, and all of a sudden you forget you're tired. That's when you start sharpening your weapons, and that's the same as in business too, right? Man, if someone's hurting you in business, don't show it. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, because a lot of times people are going to go, man, we didn't sign up for this. Yeah. We signed up. We didn't sign up. We signed up to play a game, not to fight.
I love that one. I remember when you were a little tired on the set of Ballers, I came over and slapped the dog shit out of you, and that kind of woke you up. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I totally remember that one. Yeah.
All right. The last one, which I really love, and it might be my favorite one, or the combination actually, is it's our honor to fight hurt. And what I love about this is we have seen so many athletes, professional athletes, amateur athletes, over the years and decades who fight through pain, become injured in the ring, in the octagon, on the court, on the field, fight through it, and they go out on their fucking shield, men and women. And I love that because it truly is. And I'll give you one example, and I've told you this in the past. It was my very last WrestleMania match, a giant stadium there in New York. WWE Championship was a phenomenal match. We had 45 minutes in that match, myself and John Cena, 45 minutes total to go. At about the 15, 16-minute mark, I think I got suplexed. I can't remember what it was, and I felt a big pop. Boom, and it went, and I didn't know what the pop was, but it was kind of down here in my front hip area. Not in my groin, but a little higher on my hip bone. And I'm laying there in the middle of a giant stadium, and I'm looking up, there's 80,000 people, and I'm like, man, I try to, as best as subtle as I can, stick my hand in my trunks and feel around. I was hoping that I didn't feel a bone pop out or anything like that. I didn't. And I'm like, man, there's something really wrong here. Something just happened. When I got up, I realized I didn't have any push or spring off this right leg. And now I asked the referee how much time we had left. He said, well, we have about 20, 30 minutes left of this match. Do you need me to secretly call the match and say you're hurt? I said, no, let's get going. Let's keep going, rather. And plus, also, you're in the moment, right? You're feeling the adrenaline. I don't want to let 80,000 people down. I don't want to let John Cena down or anyone involved here. It's WrestleMania. It's the big Super Bowl of pro wrestling. 20, 30 minutes later at the end of the match, John Cena hits me with his other finish, which is almost like a big over-the-head suplex. And I feel a big pop. Boom. Even bigger. Winds up. I went home to Miami at that time. I went to get my MRI. I came out of the MRI. The doctor came to me. And he said, I don't know how you actually walked in here. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have the top of your quad and your adductors torn off your pelvis.
Oh.
And I said, what? He goes, yeah, it's torn off your pelvis. But so anyway, long story short, I didn't have surgery. I had to tissue up. But the point of this was, in the moment, you make a decision to fight through the pain, fight through the hurt to get to the other side of it. Am I happy I didn't call the match? I am, because there was a lot riding on it, and I had a responsibility and accountability to everyone else. But also, in that moment, I felt like I could go on. You know how it's all up here, right? In between your ears and in between the rib cage, as you like to say. So I love it's your honor to fight hurt.
And look at what it did for you. Here you are. You're the biggest star in the world, but look what makes you feel great, right? You know, for the rest of your life, no one could ever take that from you. Like, you went out there and you're like, fucking no, I'm a gangster. Like, I did that with 2 things torn off the bone, which is insane that you're able to do. Again, us being fucked up with our fucked upness, that's fucked up. And it's something that you'll have as a badge of honor forever. And so I try and teach our guys all the time. And I use stories in the book from Tony Gonzalez and Rondé Barber and Tom Brady. Tom Brady played all the last year with a torn MCL. No one had any idea. Won the Super Bowl. So I think in today's day and age, everybody wants to be so perfect because of social media. They don't want to get hit. They don't want to have a meme. And I'm like, dude, it's your honor. You have, that first year we traded Lane Johnson, this whole neutral face, you're never going to see it. He had a high ankle sprain, torn MCL, and he herniated L4, L5 and never missed a game.
Wow.
And that's right there. That's what I'm talking about. That's how your dreams come true. Don't worry about, and I talk in the book about Couture was going to fight Brock Lesnar, and Randy actually popped a bursa sac in his elbow and couldn't lift going in the fight. And Randy's, 87 years old going into that. And Brock's a monster. And I was like, hey, dude, why don't we pull out of this one and kind of wait until you're healthy? And he just jumps my shit. He's like, pull out of it. Are you kidding me? Pull out of it. He said, could you imagine if I could beat him? I'm at 50%. Even if I just slam him and I'm at 50%. Think of what that does for me. I was like, whoa, okay, my bad. But that's it right there, right? Nothing is going to be perfect in our lives, ever. We've got to find it to be our honor to fight through that pain and fight through those limitations and just knowing ourselves, let it lift us up from the inside out.
You know what I love about that, Jay, is the reason why I love that particular pillar, that it is an honor for us to fight. And it's an honor for us to work through those challenges. Is what I love about that philosophy is it's more than sport. It's more than athletics. It's something, I think, greater and deeper than that, which everyone can relate to on every level around the world, which is just having the mana and the fortitude in here to just fight through the pain. Now, it's not, hey, fight through the pain, get to the other end of it, and you get a gold medal. It's fight through the pain today. You'll be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today, right? You'll be a little bit more the next day than you were. And it's all comes from in here. So I really love that, again, because I think it's a reflection of something greater.
Inside out. Don't worry about the end result, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the win. Worry about the fight. Enjoy and embrace the fight.
That's right. Enjoy and embrace the fight.
Here, dude.
What's that?
I got a question for you. And I haven't asked you this yet. And when I did call you about writing the foreword for this book, and look, you're one of my best friends on the planet. I always like to do for my friends. I don't like to ask anything of my friends. As you know that. I'm always thinking, how can I kind of go about life like I'm going to be everybody's pallbearer, right? If that sounds a little morbid, but I'm going to be that loyal to everybody. Loyalty is a lost art, right? And so I don't ask for stuff. I'm always like, what can I do for them? What can I do for them? And if you can get 10% of your crew to treat you back the same way, that's a pretty good little mafia. So I was like, man, and I said something to you about it, and you're like, and I said, I know it sucks because if you do mine, then everybody's going to bitch you not doing theirs. And no hesitation. After you damn right I'll do it. And yes, people will get upset with me for not doing theirs, but I'm doing yours. And not only am I doing yours, I'm jumping on board with you, and I'm helping you for my dreams to come true. Amazing. Why? Why did you agree to do mine when, so many others have kind of asked you and you knew they'd probably look at you like, what the fuck, DJ? How come not mine? Why mine?
All right. Well, so the reason why I agreed to write your forward in this book right here, which the bill is in the mail, by the way.
That's all you need is more money.
But also, too, as you know, I told you when you left me that message, you're like, hey, man, I got to talk. And you and I got on the phone and we talked. You asked me, and I said, listen, brother, for decades, people have always asked me to write their forwards. I have always said no. For the most part, I've said no because it encourages other people. Well, if you wrote this forward for them, can you write it for me? And I've turned down pro athletes, the biggest business entrepreneurs in the world, still friends with all of them. But the reason why I decided to write your forward is because you know where I keep all the dead bodies. So you know those secrets. So that's why I had to do it. No, here's why I decided to write your forward is you and I have known each other for a very long time. And, for a lot of people out there who don't know, Jay was actually in the game plan with me. Family movie we did many, many years ago. I think that was the first time we met, but you and I bonded, we become friends, we become brothers over training, over mental health, over everything. And I did feel like this book in particular, all the other books that have come out that I was asked to write the forward to, and they went on to be very successful books, are great books, very successful, and they've helped a lot of people. I did feel this one in particular was a unique one and a different one because of not only your journey, but also the vulnerability you show, but also when you talk about the gray, and it was important, this is an important subject to talk about openly, and encourage people to talk about their gray and to get that shit out. Admittedly, for years, I'm an only child. I lived basically on the road. My dad, as many of you guys know, was a professional wrestler at a time when professional wrestling wasn't as globalized, but we were going from state to state to state, wrestling in different territories. So a lot of my life was in the backseat of a car, just driving around and living in different places. And being an only child growing up, I was used to keeping shit in and absorbing it and trying to figure it out on my own and never talking about it. And that can be very disruptive emotionally, as we all know. So I have learned over the years through experience to open up and talk about my shit and talk about the gray. So when you and I met and you and I talked about our own mental health challenges, and years later you put out this great book, I thought this is a great opportunity for me not only to support you, but then also to help illuminate and highlight the great work that is in this book and the great work you've already done. I can tell you now, for everybody watching, not only do I want everybody to go out and buy this book because it's extremely helpful, but the amount of people that you have already helped, Jay, is extraordinary. And that's a thing that is fucking invaluable. Every time, by the way, you and I get together, we're always dropping cuss words, but that's the thing that is truly invaluable, is this idea that where you could take your challenges, you can absorb them, you could figure your own shit out, you could turn it around and deliver it to other people out there in a way that hopefully can help them. And that's exactly what your book does. And that's why, my brother, I wrote this forward.
And it's incredible because you and I got vulnerable with each other very early. We just connected and bonded. And man, that's, a type of brotherhood. Again, that's not based on our wallet, not based on our success. We just had two fucking warriors that got each other, but vulnerable and didn't mind trying each other and open up to each other. And I can't tell you how honored I am that you were walking this walk with me, man. I think, again, the book for me, it's to get everybody through their gray, but this book will get me to be able to piece together more days or minutes of blue, if you will. And we all got to kind of build this team out for all of us.
Well, I love that, right? Because you and I are big advocates on team and what a team means and how important that is. Not only, and we live it every day with the relationships that we have. We always say, we're in a lot of businesses, but we're in the relationship business. And that relationship business is always team concept. We have a lot of relationships, brothers who are in the NFL, coaches, players, etc. But what I also love about this moment for you and this book, Unbreakable, is, and this is what makes, I think, you unique and different than a lot of people who are putting out books. A lot of them we know, is it's not like you've succeeded and you're on the other end and you're fucking living the life and everything is great. And now, guys, I'm going to help you. You are daily going through the shit like so many people go through daily. And for many, it's consistent and it's constant, but it's that ability to work through the gray and get to the blue and get to the other colors. So that's what I love too as well, is that you're going through the shit at the same time with the people.
And I don't brag about my successes. I will try and use them to help others, but I don't brag about my successes. I brag about my scars.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I'm hoping this book is different for everybody else. Every one of us has scars. None of us have the successes that we want. We all have fucking scars. That's why I'm trying to help the world.
I love it. Well, brother, listen, we're going to wrap this thing up. And you know what we got? I'm going to break out my Zoa because I'm going to do a Zoa toast. Now, look, I know.
It's my new concoction. Ready? It's my Zoa. Ready? There we go. I got my Zoa Terramana. Hold on. Unbreakable creamsicle.
What is that? What is the unbreakable? Hold that up for a second. What is that? Is that the post-workout or pre?
Yeah, it's the protein shake, right? So I'm putting that in with the orange-flavored Zoa. Man, I'm really whoring us out right now, aren't I? And I have the Terramana, which has just been here all the time. And I guess I know it's only 9:52 in the West Coast, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I just made this drink up right here. It's called the Rockakila, and we will see how it tastes right here.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Damn good.
Hold on.
Good.
Hold on a second. If you're going to do that, wait a second. Hold on. All right. You can't do that to me. You can't put Terramana in and Zoa in and put your supplement juice in and hold on.
What do you put in?
Let me do this the right way. I got a chilled bottle of Terramana flying in right now.
There we go. Such an asshole. Thanks.
You are an asshole for putting me on the spot like this. It's 9:53, but here we go. It's 5. So, look, I always got to say this, by the way, every time I hold up a Terramana, I want to thank everybody out there. You included, by the way, Jay, very early on, supporting Terramana would become the biggest selling spirit in the history of spirits in its first year. So thank you, guys. I'm going to pour a little bit of Terramana here.
The crystal glass you got there.
What's that?
The classy crystal glass you got right there. What are you like playing?
Look, I'm big time. I don't fuck around. I'm big time. Look. All right. Now I got 2 new flavors of Zoa. I have the tropical punch. I'm going to go with the white peach because that's your nickname I gave you many years ago down in Mexico.
That's right. I got them all here. I'm telling you right now, this Terramana with the wild orange and the white Thrill It and vanilla unbreakable workout. I'm telling you, it's fantastic.
Look, I got the Zoa going. I got Terramana going. I don't have the unbreakable supplements, by the way, because you're a cheap fucking bastard. You haven't sent me any, by the way.
So
you didn't
pull off your front porch.
Our partners at GNC, they even told me, like, you didn't send me shit. So let me hold this up. So I have Zoa and Terramana in this cup. I have Unbreakable in this hand. Brother, congratulations on your new book. I know the passion, the love, the vulnerability you have put into this thing. I'm very, very proud of you. And I cannot wait for everybody to go buy this book because it certainly will help in sports, outside of sports, athletes, everyone. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, what your bank account says, what kind of car you drive, where you live in the world, or what color your skin is. This book will help you through the gray and get to the other side. And as I told you in the past, You know, there's a great country artist who I love, Cody Jenks, who says
Yep.
there's color in the gray. So, brother, this one's for you.
Brother, I love you, dude. Thank you so much. And man, I appreciate how much you are helping me find the blue. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. For everybody out there, go to hc.com/unbreakable or Amazon or Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books. But yeah, dude, I told you, man, you just being part of my life, being somebody I could turn to and be vulnerable, right? Two bad mofos who can turn to each other and cry to each other. That's the most valuable thing in my life. I love you, dude.
I love you back, brother. And next week, when you try and call me and my numbers change, don't worry about it.
Again?
It's
Fantastic, right?
Soa and Terramana. We just made something up right now.
I got a rock tequila right here. It's good. Rock tequila. Phenomenal. We'll put it out there.
All right. I'm going to get loaded fucked up. This is great. I got to go to the gym.
Love you, brother.
All right, brother. I love you too. And thank you, everybody out there, for joining us and staying on with us for this hour. I hope this was very helpful. And enjoy Jay's book, Unbreakable. It'll be out next Tuesday. Love you, brother. Love all you guys out there too. See you.
Love you, brother.